Hi everyone, my name is Liz from flutesoundscapes.com, and today I'm going to give some practice tips on the piece Giga from the Australian Music Examination Board's Grade 3 flute syllabus. So in this video I'm going to cover how to break the piece into 5 different sections so you don't feel like you have to take on learning the whole piece all at once. Breathing tips, because this piece is quite challenging for catching a breath. Slow pace practicing, and key changes throughout, which will help identify certain sections and will help improve your practice. So I'll play the piece first and then I'll talk about the practice tips. So the first thing when you start learning this piece is just don't try and learn this all at once, because there's a lot of notes and you just want to break it down into sections first. So I broke it down to from bar 1 to bar 6, and then bar 7 to bar 11, and then 11 to 17. And then 17 to 19, and then 19 to 23, and then 23 to the end. So that's quite a few sections, but you want to make sure that you master each section before you move on to the next section, because even though that might feel like that's a slow way to learn the piece, but actually it's the fastest way to learn the piece because you're not practicing your errors. Now, the next thing I really want to stress about this piece is breathing. If you don't practice the breathing, then you're sure to stumble and make mistakes with this, because every time the body feels like it's running out of breath, the brain starts to suffer as well. So you really need to practice in your breathing, and the way I would do that is again, we want to practice on one note and maybe get a metronome out as always. So I'm going to put it on 2 seconds. So we're going to bring it down a little bit slower than 100, because it is at about dotted crotchet equals 100. So on a D, you're just going to practice quick breaths. So I'm breathing after the first beat of each group of 3. Well, not every time, but you can hear it's not between the groups of 3, it's after the first quaver of each group of 3, because that's often where you'll breathe in this piece. And you can also practice this not just on one note, but maybe on alternating notes. So let's say D to B flat. And again, you're just really practicing the quick sips of air to get it in, and therefore you're stocking up on air before you run out. So when you practice each of the sections, you're practicing, as much as you're practicing the notes, you're also practicing in the breathing. And what you'll find is once you've mastered one section, but then stack it on to the next section, you might find that the breathing wasn't as secure as you thought, or the notes weren't as secure as you thought, because you haven't practiced the breathing enough. Also, when you start learning the piece, don't worry about the articulations. Just learn all the notes all tongued, And you might want to put it on your metronome on crotchet equals or dotted crotchet equals 60. So you're literally practicing at this speed. And so on. And so you want to master each section at that speed and then bump it up, say 10 clicks to the next speed and then 10 again to the next speed until you get it up to speed. And again, that'll be the fastest way to learn the notes in a secure way. And then once you've got that, you want to add in the articulations. Now, the articulations change throughout this, so there's no consistent pattern, and that's important because the articulations in this style of music really enhance the style of it. So do pay special attention as to where the articulation changes. In relation to helping you learn some of the notes, it's actually useful to work out where the harmonic changes are in the piece so you can attribute certain passages to your scales. So, for example, in the second time bar, we go into an F major scale. So if you write above that bar, F major, and if you've been practicing your scales, you'll know that F major has a B flat in it. And then in the next bar after that, in bar 12, it goes into B flat major. And so again, if you've been practicing your scales, you know that B flat major has a B flat and an E flat in it. And then bar 13 goes into C major, and then 14 into D minor. And so there's other opportunities throughout the piece to work out which key you're in, and that can help just jog your brain as to what key you're supposed to be playing in at that moment, and will help consolidate learning your notes. So that's it for today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel for more practice tips like this. Also, you might be interested to check out some of the original music I've written for flute, of which you can purchase the sheet music for if you like it. So I'll leave the links below in the description where you can have a look at that. Bye for now, and thanks for listening.